If you look at what is the political challenge to the European Union, which is totally reshaping the political arena, is the war, the migration, the gender, and labor-based society, full employment. These are the issues. I think what we need is a stronger cooperation on the market union. If we speak about the political union, we don't need it at all. Forget about it. That kills the European Union in terms of competitiveness. It's always good if you have clear target. But to work together is not a target. The question is to work together for what? I think what we need is a stronger cooperation on the market union. Definitely. Stronger cooperation on market union. If some other countries think it's too risky because of terrorism, because of public safety, because of the social burden. Don't forget that the European Union is a peace project, and now we have a war in Europe. And the other one is migration, which is disintegrating more and more.
Era of the new European politics, I believe, is the strengthening of the nation state. You know, my party won the elections in Holland half a year ago. We became the biggest party and our governing party, and we won on the issue of immigration. The people in Europe are fed up with more and more immigration. They don't recognize their own street, their own neighborhood. And unfortunately, the European Union is not giving the answers, you know. So that's why my friend Viktor Orbán yesterday here at Sonobio said that he wanted an opt-out. And I believe that at the end of the day, the nation states will be the decisive factor. They have their say in the Council of Ministers of the European Union, but in the European Parliament, the European Commission, unfortunately, not a lot of policy has changed. You know, the Greens lost the elections, the Patriots won the elections, but there is no change of policy. So the change of policy that the people really want, and you see it in all the countries in Europe, less immigration, more national sovereignty, has to come from the nation state and not from the European Union. So my sound might be a little bit different than the other speakers here, but I believe it's something that millions of Europeans can subscribe to.
Migration is an issue which is a disintegrating factor. Why do we need it? So if you have a problem in Italy and in many countries that you decided to let many migrants come in, and now you have difficulties how to manage to live together with them. It's a serious problem. But there are some countries which never took that road. We never let them in. So we don't have migrants at all. Zero. We have a program, not how to leave them together, how not let them come in to our countries. It's two different issues, you know. So you can't manage both different kind of difficulties on the same political instrument. So it would be far better, let's say, on migration to provide opt-out for those countries who would not like to follow the common migration policy. It's far better to provide opt-out than force them to come together, than disintegrating by the conflicts of the whole European structure. So to have migration is a decision of Italy, France, Germany, Hungary, Poland. It cannot be a common decision. Why we would like to force them?
Many of the political factions, many of the MEPs here today were opposed to many different aspects of it. Not everyone is on board. How are you going to try and unify sort of the politicians and the governments of the EU to get behind it?
We have a majority, and I think this is unprecedented that we have been able to agree both in Parliament and in Council with the Member States. And of course, this is a compromise, and I'm very proud to see also how the MEPs had the courage to do the necessary compromises. Everybody understands it's not going to be possible to agree on a common migration and asylum policy without compromises.
So if you think that to live together through civilization is useful and provide a better society, you can have a right to decide to do so. But if some other countries think it's too risky because of terrorism, because of public safety, because of the social burden, and if a country think it's too risky, we would not like to have that kind of new society, why we don't have a right to say, oh, that's the question, you know. So that's the reason why certain issues should not belong to Brussels to be decided, but rather stay on the national level, belonging to the sovereignty of the member state. So who can define and make a decision that you as a country should live with migrants because it's reasonable economically or not? Whose decision is that? It belongs to the people and the elected leaders of the nation, not to the empiristic center of any integration reform. I think what we need is a stronger cooperation on the market union. Definitely. Stronger cooperation on market union. Strengthen it as much as we can. If we speak about the political union, we don't need it at all. Forget about it. So we don't need political union. That kills the European Union in terms of competitiveness. It's a kind of disintegration factor. And then, if you think about cooperation, the union of defense, it must be established. So, in a nutshell, more union, on markets, no union on political issues, and to establish a political union on defense. That's the guideline I follow. We can't avoid to consider migration and war as a guideline of our activity, but the selected issue as prime target is competitiveness of the European economy. When I'm speaking about the competitiveness of Europe, I mainly mean three things. First is the reconsideration of the Green Deal, because up to now the Green Deal is run against the business community. A clear example is just the latest decision of the European Union on customs of Chinese cars.
Global markets are now flooded with cheaper Chinese electric cars. And their price is kept artificially low by huge state subsidies. This is distorting our market. And as we do not accept this distortion from the inside in our market, we do not accept this from the outside.
These tariffs do not tackle the real problem. If we want to improve our competitiveness, we should look at energy prices, agreements for raw materials. That is what Brussels should look at. Imposing tariffs can cause a trade conflict, and that can't be in Europe's interest, nor in China's. Everyone will lose.
I met previously the main car producers, leaders in Europe, BMW, Mercedes and others, and they said it's very much against their interest. So if there is a sector of industry which we would like to protect, to introduce some protectionist custom system, but the leaders of that sector disagree with that, why we are doing that? So it's obvious that the Green Deal is not managing together with the business, it's managed many times against the interest of the business. So therefore the reconsideration of Green Deal is necessary, that's the first. The second is bureaucracy. So if we would like to be more competitive, we need far less complicated bureaucratic procedures and less bureaucrats anyway. And the number three is to make decisions to draw back, to invite back the investments to Europe, because now even the European companies are investing in North America and China instead of investing in Europe, because the climate of investments in Europe is not attractive enough. So this is the three main issues when I'm speaking about competitiveness, is the very concrete points we are negotiating on. So my experience on wars, this is not my first war. I'm serving as Prime Minister more than 22 years. So my first war was the Balkanian War. And I do remember the war on Georgia. So what I'm speaking about is not reading things from film. I have some experiences how to manage wars and how to manage peace. The first lecture I have got from my practices is that if there is no communication, no chance to stop the war. So communication is the number one. Very few wars in the European history went on without communication with the fighting parties. And what we are doing is bad, because we don't have communication line to the Russians. So we need communication to Ukraine, and we need communication to Russia as well. The second is ceasefire. So if we are waiting to have a peace plan which is accepted by both warring parties, then we never be. Because the first step is not the peace plan. The first step is ceasefire. So you can't start to make peace by peace plan. Peace plan is very important. But first communication, second ceasefire, then to start to negotiate on peace plan. This is the right order. We are not doing that at this moment. That's the reason I went to Kiev first, then to Moscow, then to Beijing, then to Washington NATO summit, and then to Mar-a-Lago. So I went there to understand what are the chances of the peace. And my conclusion was, especially after the two meetings with the president of Ukraine and Russia, that there is no intention, neither sides, to have peace. Both parties said, both leaders said, that they think that the time is on their side. If you think as warring party that the time is on your side, you will continue. So my impression is that there is no real intention, whatever they are saying, there is no real intention, neither sides, to make a ceasefire and quick peace. So therefore, that was the reason I went to Beijing and to Washington as well. So I think now we should create an international context and surrounding which embodies and expresses convincingly that the whole world, not only the South, but the whole world, even Europe, would like to have ceasefire as soon as we can. So we need a big circle of peace of friends. Otherwise, we can't move to the peace. That was my impression.
If you liked the video, Please like and subscribe to spread more awareness. Share your thoughts in the comments below and join the conversation. Your engagement helps us bring more content to light. Remember, stay informed, stay engaged.